welcome to the Be Fairy Afraid podcast, the podcast where we bring hilarity to the darkest of fairy tales. I am Louise Atkinson.
And I'm Fiona Ridgewell. And this week we're talking baking bread,
Delicious.
Kieth,
Best friend.
and the Welsh tale from the magic of the Mabinogion.
Smash that.
In the words of Jean-Baptiste Basile,
Shut your mouths, open your ears, and hear what I shall tell you.
Friends on a quest, putting these fairy tales to the test, talking all things magical, mystical, but sometimes not very sophistical. Be very afraid, someone actually wrote this story down. Be very afraid, why are all the women wearing massive gowns? Why is he kissing her without her consent? What on earth is going on? Will they figure it out what this story's all about? Oh, be very afraid.
hello.
Oh, she switched it up. She said hello before me
She said
because I
hello
told her
at
to.
the start. Yeah. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm gonna address it. I'm gonna say it, which is to the listeners and to anybody watching. We are in a studio that has an air conditioning unit, not to brag, but it's having a right fucking mad, I believe is the technical term.
I don't know if it's the air conditioning actually, or if it's Louise.
And occasionally it just grumbles, which is very similar to how I feel wanting what I want to say back to the air conditioning unit. So
Right.
if you just hear it at some point, because it does sound similar to me, it might not be me.
But it also might be her.
But it also might be me because I'm getting fucked off with the air conditioning unit.
It definitely won't be me. It's like I'm a celeb. It could be you.
It could be you. You're
It
just going to
won't be
be
you.
blinking SOS throughout this whole thing because of your hay fever.
My hay fever is a little bitch.
Do you know what it is? Which pollen it is? Or what? Because I think mine's a type of tree pollen.
I was near a lot of grass. Is there pollen in grass? Oh, mine might be grass.
Yours might be grass.
I haven't recognised any out of the ordinary flowers, but I've seen a lot of grass. I went to a park yesterday.
And you were doing roly polies down the hill.
No, there was loads of deer there. Do you know anything about deer?
To
Do you know
eat?
what?
Like what?
I'm going to be authentic here.
I wish you would.
I have gone up in the world. Friend Carla came to see me and I was like, we can meet at the local park, and it's got hundreds of deer in it.
Right.
So my point is, Matt tells me, so some people were touching the deer.
You're not allowed to do that.
You're not meant to touch the deer.
No.
I was not touching the deer, but I saw some people touching the deer and I thought, oh, you're not meant to touch those deer. And they were feeding the deer. So he told me that if you see, like, there was one black deer,
Oh.
and he said that's where people have touched it and it's been outcast.
Oh.
And also when they're really white, apparently that's a similar thing, they outcast them. But then I don't know if he's done his research there, because I saw those deers and they were with other deers.
No, I don't know about that.
Oh, so you don't know enough about deers.
No, sorry.
That's all right,
I
me
haven't
neither.
done my research. But at least it's nice to know that you're going up in the world in a posh park. Do you know what's in my park where I live? A man called Kieth who will offer you grated cheese from a bag. So, mature cheddar for anybody interested. We live in different worlds.
Oh, really, Keith?
He's all right. He's usually on the strong boat, and for reasons I've never fully understood. And to be fair, I have never asked him. He usually has a bag of shredded cheese.
Shredded cheese.
Grated is what I mean. Fucking hell.
So, okay, but you've spoken to him enough to know his name's Keith? Or does
Yeah.
he's got a name badge?
Was it the first time I saw him? I was, because from the
You took
tube.
the cheese.
Yeah, I was like, cheese, you say?
You don't look like I should take cheese from you, but I like cheese.
It did feel a little bit like one of our fairy stories, because I walked from the tube to my flat, which is about a 7-minute walk, and it was nighttime and he was there, and I thought it was a bit weird, and he had this cheese, but he just appeared out of an alleyway, out of nowhere,
Right,
and I felt
we
like
need to go through some safety precautions with you.
But it was just like, do you want some cheese? And I was just like, this is my version of a fairy tale, like a creepy man just goes up cheese. Anyway, I've seen him in daylight since then, especially through the lockdowns. He used to go on those walks, and he was on one of them. He's actually all right. He's just a bit.
Really likes cheese.
He just really likes cheese, and he's a bit off his tits, but he's all right. Go on.
We got an email from Octopus Energy.
Right, you are a personalised one, or just a.
Well, it said, "Hi Matthew.
Well,
followed by congratulations. You are in the top 3%
Oh my days.
they have millions of customers. He is in the top 3% of savings. It said you have managed to save 75% of your energy.
I thought you were going to say P.
No. Well, it was about £3. But he said, this is unprecedented.
Well,
When was the last time we heard unprecedented, guys?
I'm sorry, it can't be unprecedented because there's 2% above him that are doing much better.
Yeah, they must be robots. I don't know who those people are.
Like, it's unprecedented except for the people above you who have done better and been in your position at some point. No fair, Matthew, I think you've done wonders, lad.
Yeah,
but
we
there's
put all the lights on to celebrate that. We just flashed them all up like a disco celebrating.
Put the microwave on, darling. Let's really kick the boat out. Come on. Don't I want to know what I was up to other than being pissed off at the air conditioning unit?
Oh, I thought that was you.
That was all I'd done for a week. I went to a bread making class.
Anyway, fairy tale.
Rude! I made a focaccia.
Did you?
I did.
I just would have gone with like whole grain or something. How did you make a focaccia?
So because it's a company called Bread Ahead, they do like the amazing donuts on Borough Market. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love those things.
Right. So they do a class, and the one we went to, they were doing focaccia and pasta. Now, I actually already knew how to make my own pasta, not to brag, but I'm a terrible baker because you have to be so specific.
Oh, okay.
And I'm quite a good cook, so I'm like, just bang that in there. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, flavour,
not
flavour,
great
flavour.
for baking. So they give you the really precise things. And at first you make the focaccia so that it can go improve, but then you make your own pasta, cook your pasta, and then eat it. And then by the time that's done, your focaccia's ready to take home.
Ooh.
It's very well done. And you can tell they do lots of them because the woman who was teaching us was so over being there.
Really? She wasn't a happy lady?
She wasn't a happy lady because me and my mate were there and we'd already had a couple. And then... Focaccia. Probably good. Because I told the little jerk, obviously, being the comedian that I am, she did not laugh.
What was the joke?
But she went around, she went, everybody has to introduce themselves and say something interesting. Like, it was like
fuck off.
This is it, because I was like, you just don't want to be here and you want to just occupy our time.
I hate that.
So everyone went round and I was like, hi, I'm Louise. Oh, the reason you're here. I was like, hi, I'm Louise and I'm here because my diet's just finished and I want to get on it. And everybody was like, ha, 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 ha. And she was like, next. And I was just like, oh, okay. She did not enjoy it. And then basically me and my friend would keep talking because it's a fun class. It's not like
you're paid to be there and it's a social event.
Yeah, it's not like a lecture. Like if it was a lecture, I'd be like, okay, I have to keep quiet.
Although a lecture with bread does sound like something I would enjoy.
Yeah, but we kept getting told off by the teacher. But like at one point you had to go to cook your pasta and you had to like share a pan kind of thing. So my friend and I just sat there and just like, rah, 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 rah. She's like, I hear a lot of talking, girls, but not a lot of pasta cooking. I'm like, I'm 35.
And also, what does pasta cooking sound like?
Exactly. I'm watching it literally a pan fucking boil, love.
Yeah.
Chill out. Like she was mardy as fuck.
Right.
But my focaccia was lovely.
So it was worth it. So she knows what she's doing.
I did. And I did eat the whole thing on the way home on the tube. But
What is focaccia? It's got bits in it.
it's the one that's got holes in it. It's a lot of oil.
Okay.
A lot of oil. Mine had rosemary, olives, red onion, tomatoes on the top.
Oh, yeah. It's got a bit of something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did anyone's turn out really shit?
Yes.
Oh, did it?
There was one that was like proper pancake like, and it was like, oh lad, what you done here? He was the one when we were going around saying why we was here. He was like, I'm here to bond with my girlfriend, and he said it just like that. And we were like, at least you're honest about it. Fair play to you. But he was. Everyone else was like, I love cooking. I love donuts.
Did anyone laugh?
I did, and nobody else did.
She looked fuming.
The girlfriend was like,
I'm here to break up with my boyfriend.
Yeah, I sensed there'd been an argument and they were doing this as a way of like, we don't do anything together, and he was begrudgingly along.
Yeah.
But of all the things she could have taken him to,
Not baking bread.
well, I think that's a good one.
You think that's a good one?
Yeah. Then he knows how to make bread.
Options, but how often? Who's making bread on a casual Wednesday?
Well, not this man, which is probably why they're breaking up.
Wow, we've really jumped to conclusions.
Just to let you know, if you're going to date me, you need to know how to make fucking bread. Because I can't bake, so that's the bit of my life I need.
Talking of bread, last thing. Went to my mum's today and she said, what do you want for breakfast? I said, I wouldn't mind a bacon sandwich.
Great choice.
So she got a ciabatta, we calling it that? You know, like the rectangle one, but it's got a line down the middle. It's got a little bit of a line, a little bit of an indent, right? How would you cut that for a bacon sandwich?
You go in from the side like you would any bread.
Thank you.
She going in the middle?
She went, well, there was a dent in it, so I followed the guide.
Absolutely
Do
not.
follow the guide.
It's usually about like an inch thick, like
I had to eat this bacon sandwich.
the skinniest bacon
It
sandwich.
was bread like that, and then it's like bacon in the middle. So I had to go bread, try and get a bit of bacon, bread, try and get a bit of bacon. She did. I said that. And she went, that does make more sense. Now. Yeah, Karen, it does.
What sauce you having on your sarnie?
Ketchup.
Wrong, but that's fine.
But that was just squirted on top. It's absolutely atrocious. No, bless her, it was very nice of her to make me a bacon sandwich.
Sure.
Karen.
Right. Fairy tale time.
Do you want to know what we're doing today? Yes, please.
Welsh.
We're doing the Welsh.
We're doing the Welsh. We're doing all the Welsh. We're doing the tales. Oh, let's kick it off now. I'm gonna try with the pronunciation. I messaged my friend Sian. Shout out Sian. I was like, whose first language is Welsh, and she talked me through it. So I'm gonna try my best. But we're doing the magic of the Mabinogion.
Right, well, you struggle with the title there,
I
actually.
know. Mabinogion.
Should we sack that one off?
We're just gonna do Hansel and Gretel because I can say that one.
I can say bread and cake.
No, it's the magic of the Mabinogion. Oh, bloody hell.
Mate.
Which is a wonderful set of Celtic tales. It's the oldest set of prose we have in Britain, and it was like so many other fairy tales, traditionally orally performed. Oi oi.
I don't know that it works when you do your own oi oi.
It was in prose and poetry. It was usually performed, and
Orally.
Oi, oi. and but it was put together in the 12th or 13th century. That's the first time it was written down.
Okay.
So it's very, 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 very old.
Yeah.
And it is set it was written in medieval Welsh in the 12th or 13th century, but it's set in like a mythical time long ago.
Okay.
So it's set in this mythical land, and it has different kingdoms in it, which are, to my understanding, it's how it's got classed in the book. The book is put into 4 branches, and we're going to do the second branch.
Right.
And it's like the 4 different branches of Wales.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So the second branch doesn't need the first.
No, they're just individual, but they're all just about the different areas and kings and queens and stuff like this.
Fine.
But what's interesting is, because it's this mythical prose and it's so old and it was mostly told orally, from the people who've been studying it, there's a lot of debate whether the people in it are just kings and queens or if they are actually like gods and goddesses, but it's the Celtic equivalents. Initially written down in the 12th and 13th century, but then it kind of was dying out. Like, it wasn't really looked at, wasn't really talked about, and it was brought back to life. First of all, by an English translation by William Owen Pugh in the 1700s, which was great work. But the real insurgents that brought it back to life was a woman called Lady Charlotte Guest.
Really?
Close.
Sorry.
So she was English, and she married a Welshman and moved to Merthyr Tydfil, and she just fell in love with Wales and all of its history and all of its myths and legends. And she said, we need to get this she was the one to first fully compile all the stories, and she said it's equally as important as all the classics from like Greek and Rome and stuff like that, but this is the Celtic ones and you need to pay attention. And she really drove it and gave it lots of stuff.
Passion, isn't it?
So the one we have got is the book from Dr. Rihanna Ifans. And I'll tell you exactly what it says, because it says it on the back of the book. She is an eminent Welsh scholar who, with her husband, has produced the standard adaptation of these tales into modern Welsh. So she put it into modern Welsh, and then she's also translated it into English. So for any Welsh people, I have gone truly authentic with this. The one
really?
She recommends, or I've had a few people recommend, is by a woman called Sinead Davis, and she did a full compilation of this, and I read one of them. They're actually very, very good, but they're just a bit too long for this podcast. So this is a little bit shorter. That's what we're doing. So we're doing the second branch of, she's going to try it again. Here we go. I'm going to try it again.
Do you want me to try it?
Do you want to try it?
Excuse me?
the
She
magic.
gotta say magic. We're never getting there.
The magic of the Mabinogion.
Well done. I assume.
We don't know. Sian, I'm so sorry. I've tried. Right.
Here we go.
The thing is I don't mind this Dr. Rhiannon, yeah, and I like that she's put together a little
But she
book.
likes tiny books.
She likes tiny because it is very tiny, but also I think just to piss me off in particular, she repeats these Welsh names in this book again and again and again and again.
Okay.
There ain't one bit where she's going, let's just use a pronoun. Like, she's like, no, we'll stick to
Really?
the
She's-
authentic names.
Again, maybe she had not a word count, but like a character count.
Here we go. So what we're doing, the branch we're doing is Branwen in Ireland. Right,
Okay.
here we go. Matholwch, king of Ireland, married Branwen, princess of the island of the mighty, at Aberfraw. That was 3. Done. They went to live in Ireland, and Branwen became a favourite amongst all the courtiers. Within the year, a son was born to her, and she named him Gwen, son of Matholwch.
Okay.
They've met, got married, had a kid. Everything looks to be going tickety-boo. But soon after this time, her subjects heard of the insult which Matholwch had suffered in the island of the mighty at the time of his wedding. Ep5, Branwen's stepbrother, had maimed Matholwch's horses by cutting off their lips, their ears and tails. Although Matholwch had been given a strong horse instead of each injured steed, and much gold in addition, Matholwch's men forced him to seek revenge. Now, this is quite interesting, this bit, because in Welsh medieval law, it was totally normal and very on brand to, if you were insulted, to seek compensation.
How?
By getting a horse or being given money or it being set right. So if I said you had a face like a smacked ass,
Right.
you could seek compensation from me for insulting you.
So who's killing the horse?
Ep5, Branwen's stepbrother, had maimed her husband's horses by cutting off their lips, ears and tails.
Because he'd insulted the stepbrother.
No, so he's just done that.
Why?
But we might find out.
Oh.
So this stepbrother has chopped off all these horses and like done that to all these horses.
Yeah.
But he fixed it by giving a strong horse in compensation of each steed that's been lost and a load of gold. And the thing about these medieval laws was it was like you can seek compensation, but once you've given the money, it's done. You can't be pissed off at it anymore.
Oh, I quite like that.
Yeah, it's like
Well, it's upsetting that, all those horses got thingied,
yeah.
but
So it's solved now. Everybody's paid.
we're
Bing bang
done.
bosh. Yeah, done.
Draw a line under it.
But somebody is telling Matholwch that actually isn't enough. You need to go back and have another Barney about
Right,
this.
Well, that's just going to go on forever.
Well, quite. So he decided, this is Matholwch, he decided to send Branwen to the kitchens to cook for the court members and told the butcher to box her ears each day after he had finished hacking the meat. This continued for 3 years. In order to prevent Bendigeidfran, her brother, from hearing of this indignity, all ships were banned from leaving Ireland for the island of the mighty.
Sorry, box her ears, as in punch her ears
Yep,
in?
for 3 years. He said that'll even it out. Because your stepbrother did this, you have to be boxed in the ears every single day in the kitchen. And to prevent her actual brother, Bendigeidfran, from hearing all this,
No one could leave.
no one could leave Ireland and go back to the island of the mighty, which is Wales.
Right.
With me so far?
Yeah, I'm just upset about her ears.
I know, I mean, because she's going to get big, massive cauliflower ears
Well, yeah.
from that. Branwen had one friend and one only, a starling. It stood at her side while she baked bread. Or maybe she was on my course. And Branwen taught the bird Welsh, telling it about her brother. One day, Branwen wrote a letter to Bendigeidfran complaining about her punishment. She tied it to the bird's wing and sent it to the island of the mighty. So she's like, right, this bird's going to know exactly who my brother
Yeah,
is.
give this message to.
And I popped it on his leg. Off we go. The bird searched for Bendigeidfran and found him at a conference in Carnarvon. The bird ruffled its feathers and showed Bendigeidfran the letter. Bendigeidfran was very sad on reading it and set sail at once for Ireland. So he's found out.
Okay.
Pissed off my sister. What have you been doing to her? Well, you haven't pissed her off. You're hurting her. I need to go.
Hold on. He's the brother or the brother.
He's the brother of Branwen.
He was the one that killed the horses.
No, the stepbrother killed the
The
horses.
stepbrother. Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, so it's not the same guy.
Yep. Of course, Matholwch knew nothing of this visit. One morning, Matholwch's swineherds had the shock of their lives as they tended to the pigs on the seashore. They saw a forest in the sea and a mountain next to it with a lake on either side of the mountain. All these were moving quickly towards Ireland. The swineherds ran to Malthwich as fast as their feet would carry them, but he found their story quite incomprehensible. He sent for Branwen in case she could understand them. So King's woken up one day and he's just seen everything coming towards him because I don't think it's ever directly said in any of the translations, but it's been presumed that Bendigeidfran was actually a giant.
Okay.
From some of the descriptions, which would why it would explain you can just see this lake with stuff moving towards it because he's just coming through and he's a massive giant and he can come with it. But he's on his way and they're talking and Mathalwich can't understand a thing. So he's like, get Branwen here, she can translate.
Okay.
Right. Branwen understood perfectly. Oh, I need a voice for her. In terms of Welsh, I could only do a southern Welsh accent and that would be Nessa from Gavin and Stacey.
Let's do that.
Let's see how that goes.
Roll with it.
I'm sorry to all the Welsh, mostly my friend Shan. Here we go. Branwen understood perfectly. Oh, it's Bendigeidfran. He's coming to avenge this insult, she said. No.
I think we took the class out of it, but that's because it's quite good actually, that accent. So I can just really visualise
Nessa on a boat.
because I do also have my eyes shut for 50% of this episode.
So, oh, it's Bendigeidfran. He's coming to avenge this insult, she said. The trees that you see are ships, and the mountain is my brother. He is a giant. The high ridge is his nose, and the two lakes on either side of the ridge are his eyes. He must be very angry.
Yeah.
So she's going, that's my brother.
God
This is
knows
his-
how I knew.
This is his face, and
Yeah.
he's coming for you, and he's pissed off.
Right.
I'd probably run if I were you.
Yeah.
Mathalwich took fright and decided that the only possible course of action was to escape over Shannon and destroy the bridge to prevent anyone from following him. And so he did. So he's like, if I destroy this bridge, absolutely nobody's coming after me. Smarty pants. Right? However, when Bendigeidfran reached Shannon's banks, there was no bridge. Oh, I need a voice for him. Well, he can be just Uncle Bryn. That's going to have to happen.
Yeah, lovely.
Oh, no matter. I liked the bridge, he said. Since he was a giant, it does define it in here. Since he was a giant, he was able to lie.
Bit late in the day though to tell us that, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
Because
is.
You mentioned it,
Mm.
but we assumed for the first 3 pages that he wasn't a giant.
To be fair, though, some of the stories you usually get narked because it never comes up at all. So at least they've mentioned it.
Yeah, fine.
Anyway, so because he was a giant, he was able to lie across the river. His forces walked across him to the safety of the other side. Immediately, Mathalwich's men raced to Bendigeidfran seeking peace. So King of Ireland's men, the husband, he's going, look, we need to seek peace.
They
We're
dipped
here.
out immediately.
Yeah. They gave their word that the kingship should be given to Gwen, Branwen's son. But that wasn't enough for Bendigeidfran. It was decided that he, Bendigeidfran, should be crowned King of Ireland, and that an enormous house be built for him, one so big that he could enter through its door. He had never before lived in a house because they were all too small for him.
Aww.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
He's just having to duck down and hunch. Anyway, so they're saying Bendigeidfran should be King of Ireland. We're going to build him a massive house. Bendigeidfran was greatly pleased and a feast was prepared for all the soldiers. But the Irish had a plan.
I'm going to poison him.
Revenge time.
Sweet revenge.
They wanted to kill the army of the Island of the Mighty. So they nailed a sack to each pillar in the house and hid an armed soldier in each one of them.
Oh, I thought I was going to poison them.
Yeah, I mean, that I'll say
Would have been easier.
would have been easier because what they've done is let's put a sack on each bit of the house and hide a man in it.
Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't give the gender of the soldiers. Put a soldier in it.
I think they meant.
Actually, with Celtic mythology, they use quite a lot of women.
do they?
Yeah, and with Vikings as well. There was when was it?
Oh.
It wasn't that long ago that they discovered a Viking burial ground of a warrior, and it was a warrior because they had a sword and everything, and it was a woman.
Yeah.
But the people who were discovering it were just so no, it couldn't possibly be a woman, that they did more tests than they usually would, and it just kept going back women. And they were then somebody's made a mistake, and then someone went, "Do you not just think a woman could have been a warrior?" And they went, "Oh yeah, maybe." And then that happened.
I told you I never got to the end of that though, didn't I? series, the Vikings.
The Vikings.
Yeah.
Oh, because that was your only history lesson, wasn't it, really?
Yeah,
That was how you were
so-
getting all your info
There were some
from.
good female warriors in that.
Yep,
Or
exactly.
just warriors.
Or just warriors. There you are, you see. They always had great hair.
Right, so they're in the sacks.
They're in the sacks. When Ephnetian entered the house and saw the sacks of hide, he was very suspicious of them. Smart guy. What's in this sack? He asked one of the
It
Irishmen.
doesn't sound that smart though.
And then it's just one word for this, so I'm just going to do in Northern Irish, which is my favourite word to say, Northern Irish. So he went, what's in this sack? He asked one of them. Flour, the Irishman said. Ephnetian trusted the sack and realised that there was a man inside it. He squeezed the man's head so hard
Oh, it's going to explode.
that Ephnetian's fingers met through the man's skull in his brains. He did the same thing to each individual sack. You all right? So he's there squeezing a head like it's Play-Doh. Just like,
You can't do that in real life though, can you?
you can if you're a big ass giant.
You wouldn't get through skull though, would you?
Why are you looking at me like I'm going to test it? I've got a firm grip, but not that grip. I did actually once. You know, when you're having a really bad day and you go to your mates and you like deep throat a bottle of wine just to start off. I was like, right, let's get on it. And I went to my friend Tara's and I was so stressed and I kept gripping the wine glass like this and it shattered it.
No, you didn't.
I did. And she went, how strong's your grip? I'm like, how shit are your glasses? Like, it just was like, they were
Right.
shit glasses to be fair. But that I did. But I don't think I could
I
squeeze.
think you've got to stop suppressing stress.
It had
Glasses are shattering in your bare hands.
it has subdued since the air conditioning unit's done its fucking as it's fucking told and not made as much noise anymore. So I'm feeling a bit better now. Right. So he's squished all the
The
soldiers.
heads popped them.
He's gone one by one.
Little stress balls.
When the guests arrived at the banquet, Ephnetian created greater chaos by taking Gwen's feet and throwing the boy headlong into the flames. So he's thrown the kid
Yeah.
into the fire, right? Which would be his nephew.
Why has he done that?
Well, we don't know. Branwen tried to save him by leaping into the fire. Of course she would, it's his mum. But Bendigeidfran grasped her firmly for fear that she too would burn. She's like, no, don't go in there, you're going to die and all. Like, we're not having two of these. Then everyone in the house began to fight like lions. You all right still with me?
Yeah.
Right.
Just because obviously she called for her brother to come over.
Well, so it's her stepbrother that chucked the son into the...
Oh God, this is where I'm getting confused.
The stepbrother is a right piece of work, basically. He's the one who's
So
maimed the
he's
horses.
come over with the brother, or
He was, he, I think, was already there.
oh. Is this me being thick? Or is
No,
this bit
this bit's a bit confusing to
because
me
he
as well.
seems to have popped up.
So Ephnetian is the stepbrother. He's the one who's maimed all the horses.
Yeah.
Bendigeidfran is the actual brother who's come over to save the day. Bendigeidfran is seeking peace. They wanted to make him king. He's having a lovely time. The Irish had a plan to get rid of him. They hid themselves in a sack. Ephnetian, the stepbrother, has
Squeeze
come,
their little heads.
has squeezed their little heads, and he's
Yeah.
gone, that's not enough. What I'll also do is throw my stepnephew into the fire.
Okay.
Right.
Done.
Branwen has tried to go after him, but Bendigeidfran grasped her firmly for fear that she too would burn.
Okay. The good boy.
Right.
Maybe stop using their names and just say brother and stepbrother.
I
for
mean,
me.
that's what I don't mean to be rude to Dr. Rhiannon, but that's what I think she should have fucking done. Like,
Yeah.
no offense, love. I know you're real smart on that, but this is doing my head in this. Anyway, so the Irish had a cauldron, the cauldron of rebirth. When one of them was killed, he was put into the cauldron, and by the next morning, he would be alive again, although he would not be able to speak. So there's a magic cauldron.
They're putting the kid in the cauldron.
Well, this is the idea, I think. The warriors of the island of the mighty had no such cauldron and were therefore losing the battle. So you could put anyone in the cauldron.
Okay, get them back.
But the next
Your
day,
army keeps being replenished.
but they can't speak when they come back.
Okay, probably
For the best, really. Just keep stum.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't got found in those sacks if you hadn't.
But there's a lot of cauldrons used in Celtic mythology because witches.
Yeah.
Witches use cauldrons. And also in Irish mythology, you have leprechauns hiding pots of gold, which are cauldron shaped. So the cauldrons come up quite a lot in mythical times. The warriors of the island of the mighty had no such cauldron and were therefore losing the battle. When Ephnetian realised what was happening, he squeezed amongst the dead bodies of the Irish in order to be thrown into the cauldron with them. Once in the cauldron, he stretched his body until the cauldron split 4 ways and was totally worthless. Ephnetian was killed instantly.
Good riddance.
Quite right. But he was like, no, I don't want people bringing back from the dead. I just like to squish their heads and leave them dead.
So he's killed himself and broken the thing that could have brought him back.
Yes.
Okay.
He is a bit of a knobhead. Bendigeidfran was badly injured by a poisonous spear, and only 7...
Which there has been no mention of.
And only 7 men from the Island of the Mighty survived the fighting. Bendigeidfran...
Sorry, do we know how many we started with?
Yeah.
Cool. Could have been 8, couldn't it?
Bendigeidfran commanded his men to cut off his head and carry it to London to be buried.
Do you just want an honourable death?
Well, let's see. The 7 men, Bendigeidfran's head and Branwen, sailed back to the Island of the Mighty and came to harbour at Aberlour in...
That went right.
I'm so sorry. At Aberlour in Talabolyn. Talabolyn? Oh, Sian, I messed that one up. I tried.
Yeah.
They rested there a while. Branwen looked back towards Ireland with great sadness and then at her own country. Son of God, she said, woe is me, my Beth.
Oh, you can't do that voice, when
Two good countries have been ruined because of me. At that, she sighed wearily and her heart broke because of her great sorrow. She was buried there on the banks of the River Alor in Anglesey. And that is the end of the story.
Well, what I will say is I think I'm quite self-aware.
Right?
And I often say I'm a little bit thick. I got so lost during that very short story.
It is good that she's compiled it to this short, but I think they are meant to be a bit longer to add a bit of... But I got a bit confused as well.
And I think as well, just say like the stepbrother or the brother.
Yeah.
That's really my fault for getting names immediately.
No, for some reason, I think as much as I teased it for, you just put these names in to piss me off. She really has just put them in again and again and again.
Like sometimes she'd say the name and then it'd be a full stop because that was the end of a sentence, and then she'd start the sentence with the name again.
So it's hard to read. Like, it's also quite hard to read in general without reading out loud. And it just doesn't, it's not very fluid.
Flow,
and I understand why you've done it because you want to put the names in, but I think, in my professional opinion, as a person who's never been published or studied this,
in my professional opinion, as someone who's a bit thick, I not follow that.
But there is some lovely little drawings in it.
I did see those. I was peeping over.
Yeah, so like,
a little sack. I saw a little sack.
That's Bendigeidfran.
Has he been a bridge there?
Yeah, he's been a bridge there. And this is Matholwch with his massive nose.
I've got another question, actually.
Aye.
So, was he the one? So her husband was the one boxing her ears? Or was that the stepbrother?
No, he told the butcher to box her ears.
But
it was a different
that order came from
That came from Big Nose Ear, yeah.
Right, okay.
To be honest, considering this is called Branwen in Ireland, she isn't in it that much.
No.
She meets a starling, and I think that's her only friend in the world.
And he don't do much.
The starling.
Well, he shoots off and he leaves a message. We never hear about it.
What else did you want him to do?
Well, normally, like, if it's the princess and the frog or whatever, the frog's got a pretty big role. The starling just...
Yeah, but this isn't Branwen and the starling. This is Branwen in Ireland.
No, but they were like, it's her only and best friend.
That's them chucking her body into the cauldron. We'll put some of these on Instagram.
Excellent.
They're done by Helen Holmes, if she's watching.
If you would like your illustrators.
Yeah. What do you think the moral is?
Draw a line under it.
What if you have a dispute?
If you have a dispute, which I was actually having this conversation yesterday, you can't harbour, like, if you hold on to the say someone upsets me and I hold on to it.
Yep.
Who's it really hurting? Me.
Sure.
Because it's going round and round my head. I'm thinking about the time. Draw a line under it. Move on.
Right. I hold grudges for years.
I can imagine.
Absolutely is. You are dead to me. It does. It fuels me because then I'm like, I want to go forward in life and just do everything that you can't just to piss you off.
No, you would feel so much better.
No, I wouldn't.
Have you not heard about the let them theory?
What's this?
If they want to be mean to you, let them. If they want to box your ears in, let them. You just let them.
What's a horrendous theory? If someone wants to run you over with a car, let them.
I think
If someone wants to give you syphilis, let them. Like, what a terrible theory.
To do with, like, say you're in a relationship and they clearly don't want to be with you, and a lot of the time we beg, plead, change things about ourselves to keep them. It's like if they want to walk away.
I dirt beg. I'm not hanging around.
I don't think I've ever been
You do
I've been
one-
the one that's gone, but after multiple. I think we can make this work.
No, absolutely not. You do one wrong thing to me, I'm out of there. Bye. See you later. Sayonara. Goodbye now. See you later. Goodbye.
Yet again. I think there might be a problem with both of us.
I don't know what you
I
mean.
don't think there's a winner here.
My therapist said I'm a great little muffin.
I think we're both at opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah, so anyway,
Right. So yes, the moral.
draw a line under it.
Pretty much.
Let
It's
them.
don't be overcome with pride or jealousy, and respect when things are done. And
Yes,
don't.
I should have fucking listened to that story.
Oh, you've got a bit aggressive.
Sorry.
You're like F Nation. You'll be popping somebody's head next.
Yeah, I should have listened to that. Yeah.
So you didn't enjoy that one.
No, I did, but I have never. I was about to say I've never been so confused. I've definitely been more confused.
You have a problem with the Celtic ones. We really need to get you on board.
But Celtic is Scottish is part of.
You didn't mind the brownie one we did,
Yeah. But that one just got so lost.
but you don't
I
like.
didn't know who was the bad guy, who was the good guy. Like, what was the point? Where was she trying to get out of that country then?
Well, I think she was trying to get out of just the kitchen, so she didn't have her ears beaten in day after
We're
day.
all trying to get out of the kitchen.
Feminism. Actually, I'm not. I'm baking bread. I'm trying to get the fuck back in there.
You keep bringing us back. You
Let me-
keep going back in the kitchen. You keep paying to go in the kitchen. And
Because-
we're like, we've moved away from that, Louise. Get out of the kitchen.
Being a boss bitch is really exhausting and hard. I want to go back in the kitchen.
For Katja to fuel my energy.
Yeah, me and Keith need to start our own kitchen.
What is cheese without bread?
Come on, Keith.
Oh, we've gone full circle.
Right, good. Let's crack up.
Please like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. And follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Be Fairy Afraid Pod. Thanks for listening.